you would randomly determine the casualties, and it could have been one of the NPCs that we played.
That happened.
It could have even been a PC, I think.
Yeah, Deuce's character got off that way.
Deuce's character was lost to attrition.
That's what
I thought we did that on purpose.
No, that was random. That was purely random.
That was his human raised by gnomes.
Oh, my God.
Yes, the human male gnome.
But there's
Deuce can never do anything normal.
Human male gnome.
Coming from Mark now.
Even Mark finds that ridiculous.
Yes.
If I find it ridiculous, you know you're in trouble.
well, anyhow, some of the NPCs you guys played were pirates, actual pirates,
Right. Proper pirates.
Rivals
rivals
pirates.
of
That was
yours.
my favorite night.
Yeah. And those NPCs could potentially come back to haunt you.
Right.
You
Right.
could play them again on a totally crew of their own, and
That
they
my
could go
NPC
against
might
your
come
other
back
characters.
with having his own ship and whatnot.
See, okay, I'm going to
Found
try
a
to
fortune in gold and ran off.
I'm going to try to paint a picture of what happened, a brief picture. So Vic starts the fight. He kicks the guy's teeth in. We press gang these two guys who just so happen to be from, let's say, a quote-unquote evil rival ship. And they're press gang onto our ship. And so we end up playing these characters, these NPCs from the rival ship in an attempt to break out their captain. So
Their
what's the first
captain.
thing we do? We're like, well, we're going to commit mutiny against
Right.
our actual player character's ship.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We go completely against them, which failed miserably, of course. But
Because Blondeberry Pickeroon.
Well, yeah,
was
it was
on the
a
case.
mixed crew. Remember, it was
right.
the mission was a mixed mission because you had some of the pirates from trying to break out their own captain, and then you had members of the actual crew of our ship along with them who wouldn't turn on their own captain.
Well, I was the only one that wouldn't turn. Sean was more than willing to turn.
Bill Palsy, you bastard!
And that was those were randomly handed out. Now I'm thinking that if Mike had handed Blondeberry Pickeroon to anybody else, it probably would have gone through.
yes.
But because his name's Blondeberry Pickeroon,
Because I was playing Blondeberry Pickeroon, and the picture of the guy it looked like Mr. Clean. He's not somebody that's going to stab his real captain in the back. I couldn't do that.
That's another thing
Yeah.
that we haven't mentioned is that Mike drew
Little cartoon.
cartoons of all the characters.
Well,
Do that again.
Anytime I run C-based stuff, I do character portraits of the crew, player characters.
Right.
There was a lot of extras that went into this. I drew, a map of the South Seas of Greyhawk.
Great map.
Right.
I had a running account of all the sessions on my blog.
Right.
I think up to 32
You
or
came up
33
with
episodes.
usable ship rules too. You came up with all your own rules.
Yeah,
for that.
I made
It was a
hybrid,
hodgepodge, right?
hybrid system of ship rules. Yeah, I went far and above any other campaign I would run for this one. We actually have a recorded account of everything we've done, where everything else is more or less just reminiscing. I actually have this one written out.
See, and that was for me. That was like the funnest thing about the game was waiting the week later
Yeah.
to see your spin on what happened in like serial form, like an
I
old
could-
pulp serial.
I got to where I couldn't wait to read it just so I could correct him because he
Yeah.
always left my guy out.
Because he was always so you were trolling him, is what you're saying.
It's revisionist history. But I mean, that's partially why I always tried to do things really like over the top or really brash, because in my mind I had this is a pulp novel that's happening,
Right.
and that's that's just the way things work.
Mike's going to write me about doing this.
Exactly.
Sean
I had
was
no
definitely-
idea that Mike was doing that.
No idea?
No idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he just released.
and you
the
can
big
print them
battle.
off in PDF.
There you go.
I guess I'll have to find
as well.
those.
You should. One thing I want to bring up before we're done is the reoccurring theme of, or it's not a theme. It was always my mindset. We never come back to games, which
Right.
truthfully you really didn't.
Right.
Let's
Up
be
until
honest.
this point.
Up until this point, we took that hiatus, but we did. We came back to it, and I think it probably helped the campaign because we came back to it and we had that fervor that you know,
Yeah.
of it being fresh again.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can tell you about coming back to campaigns. That used to be the norm for us. I used to. These guys wouldn't let me in the campaigns. They would always, oh, I can't wait to play so and so again. And
Right.
we were always coming back to campaigns. It used to be the usual
But
state
that
of
was
affairs
a
for me,
long time ago.
But it was always D&D.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's all I ran. The
Mike's
last thing I
speak.
would really want to talk about, we might have already touched on it, was the twisting plot threads. How at a certain point, the player characters were getting split up.
Right.
Well, at one point, I thought I was dead.
Yeah, and that was
And I actually had to roll a character because I assumed I was dead.
Yeah.
And no.
Are you talking specifically about the characters that were stranded on the island.
Well, yeah, that island really turned out to be important.
Yeah, that ended up being a pivotal point in several of the stories.
I know we jokingly said that we were looking for hatches the whole time we were there.
Yeah, you marooned an NPC there, and then two of the player characters, Morgan and Pickles, ended up getting marooned there. So all the threads eventually, kind of came back together at the end. And
Well,
worked out
I was
nicely.
thinking about all the things that were kind of one-offs and throwaways. Trying to think of what's in store for our third voyage.
Yes.
You know,
Well, we gotta
because
leave
things
things
like the
for
orc,
next time.
the orc raiding parties and the thing setting fire to all the islands. These are all of these other plot lines that Mike had going on that weren't part of.
Always leaving little
about-
little hooks for later. Yeah.
Right. When we come back to it yet again.
And I don't really think we will, because we found lots of maps, I think,
Yeah.
here. Not that Mike necessarily has to go according to what's on those maps, because that's the beauty of Greyhawk, is that it's so open-ended. You can do what you want with it. But I'm really looking forward to sailing off the map to see what's off the edge.
Yeah, you got that. You got exploration, and I've also left you a couple main hooks for some intrigue if you want. The captain left you a map
Right.
to his buried treasure.
Right.
And you had
there's
the cryptic message
Right.
from Lord Key.
So I guess that's how you have to do it. You need a little bit of a cliffhanger. Tie up some loose ends.
And I think my character is to the point now where, his whole purpose for being on the boat was so that he could go home. We sailed right past his home, and he never even wanted to get off the ship.
Right.
So
Yo ho, yo ho.
So, yes. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. We'll see you guys next week.
there's a pig for every hole.
Wow.
And that's why we don't go live.
Follow us on Twitter
We're at Gamers Table.
Like us on Facebook.
Listen to us on iTunes.
or on Stitcher.
Got a comment or question about the show?
Visit our website, gamerstable.com.
You can comment right there on the episode page.
Or you can send us an email, feedback@gamerstable.com.
Even better, you can leave us a voicemail at 559-546-1231.
Right. And if you do, we could feature your call on the show.
If you like what you hear, click our PayPal tip jar. It's only 99 cents, and it helps us keep coming back each week.
Thank you for listening. Remember, new episodes are released every Tuesday, so please subscribe. Properties discussed during this podcast are the exclusive rights of their respective owners. Gamers Table is a registered trademark property of Side Tangent Productions.